Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. So great to be along with you as we come up on the 4th of July. And happy birthday, America. It is a very special day, and amongst any other day, July 4th is special for this reason. We are making America great again. We live in the greatest nation in the world, and this is a day to celebrate this nation, not an individual group, not veterans, not those fallen, all very important to celebrate, not fathers, not mothers, not Christmas. This is a day literally about celebrating America. And not that one is more important than the other, but I will say this. We don't celebrate America enough, and it is important that we do it. So I saw this video of the General Lee. Remember that from the Dukes of Hazzard? You know, some cities are having gay pride parades. Some cities are having transvestite parades. But in celebration of America, before we get into some of the things we're going to talk about today on the show, I'm going to play this video because it should make you feel good. Look at this General Lee. Over the fountain it goes. Door falls off, hits the... Oh.
That's just a little bit more.
But that's how you celebrate America, folks.
Oh, he's taking off.
That is a celebration. Hit it.
Oh, my goodness.
That's crazy.
Boom.
And it looks great.
Good job.
Again, no gay pride parade, no transvestites roaming the streets, no shaking their asses at kids. We got the General Lee, baby, doing its thing. All right. With that, what do we have on the podcast today? A little bit of a smorgasbord for you. In the beginning, I want to hit off some of the news of the day, but I really want to talk about what makes a man, what is the definition of success, what is the American dream, what are goals we should have, and I do believe everybody's goals can be different, and no goal is right or wrong. But we're going to talk about that for most of the back half of the podcast. And it's an interesting subject to talk about, and we'll take some phone calls as well. Don't usually do that on the podcast, but we will today. Before we get to that, I want to tell you, folks, about Patriot Protect. Patriot-protect.com/Grant is where I want you to go. Use the promo code Grant for 15% off. I don't know if you knew this, but 84 million passwords have been leaked. You could be the next target. A newly uncovered AT&T breach has exposed 184 million login credentials, complete with usernames, passwords, and email addresses left unencrypted and wide open. Many are circulating on the dark web already. Very hard for you to search it. Patriot Protect can. These aren't old logins from obscure sites. This breach includes bank accounts, email providers, healthcare portals, even government services. Criminals don't need to hack you anymore. They just buy the information. They log in. And even worse, they have that information of passwords. Now they'll just log into your account and steal your money. So even if your password was complex, even if you had nothing to hide, your digital identity may already have been compromised. This is where Patriot Protect comes in. You arm yourself by signing up with Patriot Protect. They will remove your personal information, your name, address, phone number, and so much more from the public web, scrubbing it of hundreds of data sites, making it virtually impossible for scammers to find and target you. Blackout, the advanced dark web scan, goes even further. I signed up for this, showing if your email address or phone number is actively for sale on the dark web and market. Mine was. Guess what? They removed it. I do a search now on my name. My address is gone. It used to come up every which way but loose. Most people will do nothing. It's what criminals count on, but you can do something. You can go with Patriot Protect because the only thing worse than getting hacked is knowing you could have stopped it. Here's what I want you to do. Don't be a next victim. Go to patriot-protect.com/Grant. That's patriot-protect.com/Grant. Use the promo code Grant for 15% off. And guess what, folks? It worked for me. I'm so impressed with the Patriot Protect service. All right. With that, before we get into what makes a man, what is the definition of success? Does money play a role in that definition. Before we get into all of that, let's go through a little news of the day. I want to show you how dumb the people at CNN are. Not Scott Jennings. I don't know how he keeps his head, by the way. This is the Republican that is often on the round tables at CNN. He does such a great job of giving our side. But when he has to deal with ding-dongs who don't even pay attention to the cycle, this is what happens.
Jobs not done. A foreign minister from Rwanda told CNN, he said he's committed to supporting this ongoing negotiation, but warned that ending the conflict will depend on political will and the good faith. And
all right, this is about the Congo and the war going on there. And President Trump basically got it ended. This woman doesn't believe it.
he doesn't know if that is true, referring to the DRC's government. It's not done. It's not done.
You didn't watch the news yesterday. They literally announced it in the Oval Office.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is indeed a historical day because it's the signing of a peace agreement between Congo and Rwanda to end a conflict that has been going on for 30 years.
Let me ask you a question.
Literally in the Oval Office.
Can I say something?
Friday afternoon.
You said something earlier. You said, and you kind of agree with Pete, when he says there's something about the media where they feel like they want to disprove Donald Trump. Is that what you said? Something to that effect?
Yeah, it happens every day.
And you think that's what they want to do, right? You think the
Yes.
media is going in to say he's lying and he's not telling the truth. Do you
Correct.
believe that?
That is the
wholeheartedly?
standing disposition.
Do you believe that he tells the truth?
Yeah, I do.
Every time?
You think
all presidents do
you
that?
think the
All
president
presidents?
tells the truth? This current president tells the truth often.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I also think that, to our point that we haven't established, he does announce things before it's too soon.
They literally had the
program is
countries
not
in there.
The program isn't.
I feel like you should watch the news before you come out here.
I feel like you should stop trying to defend him just to defend him.
I feel like you should watch.
It's unbelievable. As the clip went in the middle, President Trump announces an end to the war between Rwanda and the Congo. They have an agreement signed. Now, will that stay in place? Just like with Iran and Israel. I don't know if it's going to stay in place or not, but the agreement's signed. This woman does not want to give President Trump credit for anything. Now, if you look at this, I just want you to look at their body language. Okay? If I freeze it here, you've got Scott Jennings, who's basically closed off to her, because I guarantee you there's a part of him that doesn't want to even be dealing with her. And she's pointing, wagging, finger waving, and looking down her nose at him because she thinks she has the moral high ground here. She doesn't. President Trump does not lie, no matter what the mainstream media wants to tell you, no matter what Democrats want to tell you. He doesn't have to lie. The difference between Democrats and Republicans on this front are Republicans can stand with the truth in their policy, and we're proud of it. And if it doesn't go right, then we pivot and we come up with a different policy and try to make things better. Democrats, by hook or by crook, they will stick with whatever they are pushing, whether it's open borders, whether it's weak on crime, whether it's transgender nonsense, whether it's taking parental rights away from your kids, from you, and you having oversight on your kids and their education. All of this. They see it disintegrating before their eyes, yet Democrats will stick with it. Quite frankly, it is absolutely despicable. This is Tom Tillis, and I'm going to give you more. Now, Tom Tillis is a Republican. There's a guy running against him. There may be a few running against him. He's awful, Tom Tillis. This guy, this Republican senator is not a Republican. He's not a Trump guy. And I just want you to see how he treats Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Just as I want Democrats out of office, I want rhinos out of office.
Are you a conspiracy theorist?
That is a pejorative, Senator, that's applied to me, mainly to keep me from asking difficult questions of powerful interests.
Now, think about what he just said. That's what they say about me. I'm a conspiracy theorist. Yet every conspiracy theory I've come up with, just like RFK Jr. has come up with, has turned out to be true. Certainly surrounding COVID, certainly surrounding the election of 2020, and so many other things. So don't call us conspiracy theorists when things come out to be true. In fact, all of it.
I was told that I was a conspiracy theorist. That label was applied to me because I said that the vaccines, the COVID vaccine, didn't prevent transmission and it wouldn't prevent infection. when the government was telling people, Americans, that it would. I was saying that because I was looking at the monkey studies in May of 2020. I was called a conspiracy. Now everybody admits it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said red dye caused cancer. And now FDA has acknowledged that and banned it. I was called a conspiracy theorist because I said fluoride lowered IQ. Last week, JAMA published a meta-review of 87 studies saying that there's a direct inverse correlation between IQ loss.
All right, so I'm going to assume
I
a lot
could go
of
on
those,
for about a
so
week.
is there any one of them that you can say, you got me? That really was a conspiracy theory? Or are you in a
Not
position to submit for the record? I think it'd just be helpful for every one of these narratives for you to submit that maybe for the record.
Submit for the record. Over and over and over again, we can see where the conspiracy theory is. We know the lab leak is very real. You know, the sad reality is we know that these COVID vaccines are also very dangerous. You now have literally in the commercial for the COVID vaccine, they literally say may cause enlargement of the heart. When we said it caused myocarditis early on, which is the enlargement of the heart, we were called conspiracy theorists. We were called conspiracy theorists, as RFK Jr. points out. Mercury in vaccines are bad. Well, guess what? He gets a new vaccine committee, and now they say, you know what, we got to remove mercury from the vaccines. Do you have to be a doctor to know that it's not good to have mercury in a vaccine that you're injecting into your body? Now, do you remember the old thermometers when we were kids? I used to break them, and I used to put the mercury on the bathroom floor when I was sick, and I'd fool around with the mercury. It would roll around little balls, right? I don't know if you guys remember that. Now, that was tremendously toxic. I shouldn't have been doing that. I don't know. I probably have mercury poisoning from doing that. Everybody knows you can't break open those thermometers. And in fact, what do? They did away with mercury thermometers. So you're going to inject it into the human body? How in the world is somebody coming up with that theory? Then they say that the spike protein, oh, no big deal. Don't worry about it. People are getting blood clots left and right. We said this is causing all kinds of problems to the body, the spike protein, including blood clots. Next thing you know, there's a survey that comes out of embalmers, and embalmers are seeing these wild rises in blood clots in the dead bodies, and that started in 2020 into 2021 and 2022. What is the one common theme there? The vaccine. Now, I guess you could maybe blame it on COVID. Maybe the COVID causes the blood clots. But either way, it needs more research. We're not conspiracy theorists for making that claim at all. And so, again, the left wants to make that claim. So, again, Tom Tillis needs to go. Many of these Republican senators that call themselves Republicans that are working actively against President Trump and the Make America Great Again agenda need to go. I would urge President Trump, please do not endorse the wrong guy. I think sometimes President Trump gets advice about who to endorse, and it's not the right MAGA guy. All right. Now, luckily, we have a lot of great candidates out there running, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start to profile a bunch of them. I had one guy on named Don Brown. He's running against Tom Tillis. He seems to be a good guy, former special prosecutor for the U.S. Attorney's Office, very, very smart, bright, appears to be MAGA. We'll dig into him, make sure he is, and make sure we figure out exactly what is going on with all of this. And so that, folks, is very, very important that we do that. All right, listen to me. I want to tell you about my friends over at get20now.com. That's get20now.com. This is an investment opportunity that takes advantage of data centers, technology, and Bitcoin mining, cryptocurrency. If you don't like the wild swings of cryptocurrency, if you don't like the wild swings of the stock market, here you lock in contractually up to 20% annualized interest on your investment. That's the deal I made. They pay me every month like clockwork on the same date, direct deposited into my account. They've lived up to their promises. The name of the company is NFN8. The website, get20now.com, because we're talking about 20% annualized interest. But they have perfected the real estate aspect of this, of going and securing warehouse space that they can put these Bitcoin mining centers into. They're using technology to cool the Bitcoin mining machines like nobody else can. And here's the real key. They have figured out how to buy the electricity cheaper than anyone else can. So in the end, they're mining Bitcoin at a rate faster and cheaper than anybody else out there. That's the folks at NFN8. Get20now.com is the website. Get20now.com. I urge you to pay them a visit. And when they call, answer the call. And if you can't take the call, call them back. My buddy Corey is very busy. One of the principals of the company will call you, and they're not screwing around with crazy sales guys. This is a principal of the company. He will call you. I know the guy, and you're going to enjoy talking to him. Get20now.com. Get20now.com. Make sure you tell them that Grant Stinchfield sent you. All right, before we get into more on what makes a man, what is the definition of success, all very important questions. We get very different answers depending on who we ask. The American dream, what is it? To every person, the American dream is very different. I would argue to the masses, it's not all that different. American dream is pretty simple. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But I want to show you what the American dream is not. The American dream is not homelessness. The American dream is not being afraid to walk down the streets of where you live. The American dream is not finding yourself in a situation where you're high on drugs and all you want are drugs and you don't want to do anything to improve your standing in life. I saw this clip from AML Films on Instagram. And, you know, we talk about homelessness in a way that sometimes can be cold. And I'll tell you why it can be cold. I don't believe the majority of people that are homeless want help. I don't. I believe the majority of homeless people actually want to be homeless. And I believe they went down a road, a path that was so bad, they turned everyone against them. I mean, think of the steps you have to go through to become homeless. You need to lose your job, but how do you lose your job? Well, you're probably drunk or using drugs. You don't show up to work numerous times. Most companies will give you chances, try to get you help. You fail on that, you get fired. You then can't get another job or do and get fired again. Now you can't pay your bills. Now you move into a relative's house and try to get on your feet. But you're so hooked on the drugs, you probably start stealing from the relative. And then the relative kicks you out. And the next thing you know, the cycle happens. You go to your friends. They kick you out because you're stealing from them. And then you're left on the street, scrapping and scrounging, and all you want are drugs. That sounds callous. My plan for Los Angeles to fix the homeless problem is literally round them up, put them on a bus, and ship them to Portland, Oregon. Portland, Oregon wants to be a wild liberal city. Let them have them. Again, people that say that sounds heartless. But it does solve the problem, the immediate problem for the people of Los Angeles. Any city could do this, by the way. This is Philadelphia. Now, when I tell you all those things, I have an experience of homelessness recently where I drive by and I look in Dallas and under the underpass, there's a homeless guy. Probably grimy, probably gritty. Maybe one's passed out on the sidewalk. Maybe one's got a makeshift sign. I saw one homeless guy said fat guy needs tacos, and he was an overweight homeless guy. And I gave that guy $5 because I loved his honesty. Fat guy needs hot tacos. So but will work when it says veteran struggling. I don't believe any of these things. If you will work, then go get a job. But they don't. But this hit home when you see the people close up. These people most certainly need help. Now, they may not want help, but they need help.
Yeah, be careful, fam. The cops is giving people citations for being over here. They call it blocking the sidewalk. I got one a week ago, so y'all just be careful, all right? Yeah, our sister is fine. Our sister, sis, She fine? You think she's all right?
Fine.
She's all right.
Y'all gonna watch her?
Yeah, we'll get her.
Fine. How are you saying this woman is fine? And then you got the white girl in a wheelchair.
Sister is fine. I was.
Look at her face. Her eyes roll back. She looks dead. And yet, what happens in Philadelphia? They don't care.
Sister, sis. She fine? You think she's all right?
She's all right.
Y'all gonna watch her?
Yeah, we'll get her.
When you get to a situation where you are what appears to be graveyard dead on the sidewalk. Now, he said she's fine, shaking her. She didn't even look like she's breathing to me. With her head lying, think about it, into the street. Somebody ought to at least move her so a car doesn't run over her skull. How does this homeless problem get so out of control? Because Philadelphia, a Democrat-run city, just like Los Angeles, allowed it to fester. Now, he said they were giving tickets to people for blocking the sidewalk. Good for Philadelphia, if that's actually happening. Liberal cities, I know, let this stuff fester, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Wait till you see this person. Folks, now this guy at least moves with his head buried. I don't know whether it's throw up or whether it's food. And then look at the other guy with his legs just collapsed underneath him next to him.
Just trying to make sure you're alive, dear.
These people are zombies. Zombies. It's like Day of the Walking Dead in Philadelphia. Now, honestly, I ought to try to go do this. I ought to try to go do this in Dallas. I'm sure I will find the same thing. Now, this guy doesn't look like he's starving, the guy on the right there.
Safe
Here the
out
guy
here,
falls
dear.
asleep on his bicycle. Folks, how do you end up? How is the bicycle not even falling over? You're passed out on a bicycle and the bicycle stays upright? How bad do you have to be? Now, again, what does the mayor of Philadelphia say about this? What does the police chief of Philadelphia say about this? Now, one of the things, there's plenty of places for people to go get help when you're homeless. Plenty. Every major city has city-run homeless shelters. They've got nonprofit-run homeless shelters. They've got church-run homeless shelters. Many of these homeless shelters, specifically the privately run ones, have rules. Can't drink alcohol. Can't come back drunk. You got to be home by 8 o'clock at night. You've got a curfew. These people don't want to live by that. So there are lots of beds open in these places because they don't want to live by the rules. All right? I'll play a little more of this.
Bro, you're going to fall off your bike. Yo. You all right? You ain't going to fall off your bike, right, brother?
How in the world does this happen?
Brother, you're going to get a hunchback the longer you stay like that.
Hunchback? Now, here's the thing. That guy, as I told my son, that guy, the girl who's basically zombie-esque, looks dead.
So y'all just be careful, all right?
This
Yeah, our sister is fine. Our sister.
That woman is somebody's daughter, somebody's sister. I don't know. She might be somebody's mom. And that's what we have. So to Democrats out there, stop the compassion, quote, by letting it fester and start arresting these people. I would arrest her for public drunkenness. Now, you'd probably have to take her to the hospital. Cities aren't going to want to do this, but this is what you do. You start arresting people. You take them to the hospital. They get, then you put them in jail. And here's two things happen. Either they make a decision to get right or they go to another city. Now, if you're looking for solutions, going to another city is a solution for Philadelphia. And every other city that does this, you start to see homeless just starts to dissipate. It's just like crime. If you tolerate it, if you allow it, if you enable it, if you encourage it, which is what Democrats do, then again, it will continue to fester. And folks, honestly, that appears to be what we're seeing on a regular basis. Is it totally festering? Hey, PatriotMobile.com. For a 4th of July episode, how great is Patriot Mobile? This is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. They live for the 4th of July. Sign up today. Change your cell phone service. They'll make you a great deal to switch, by the way. All you got to do is call them and talk to them about it. 972-PATRIOT. You can choose any network you want to be on. So if you're happy on AT&T or Verizon, you can stay there. But you're going to be paying Patriot Mobile. You know, a portion of the money you pay for your mobile phone service is going to go to causes that are near and dear to us. Folds of honor, veterans issues, Second Amendment issues, free speech issues. All of this Patriot Mobile is committed to, plus great service, 100% U.S.-based customer service. Switching is so easy. It took me 2 minutes, a little more than 2 minutes, 5 minutes to switch lines, okay, from my Verizon to Patriot Mobile. The eSIM card, bing, bang, boom. They walk you right through it. No problem. So get with Patriot Mobile today. PatriotMobile.com/Grant. I promise you, it's the official wireless provider of Stinchfield's Army. You're going to be a happy part of a team, and you know you're moving the country in the right direction. Every day you wait is a day you're funding the woke left. 972-PATRIOT is the number. Use that promo code GRANT for a free month service. Use the promo code GRANT, 972-PATRIOT. You tell them I sent you. We were having a conversation with Dan the phone, man, and the situation with Liver King. I don't know if anybody of you follow him, but he's the guy who eats raw meat. He has
and
the
let me just jump in here.
Diet.
Don't feel bad if you don't know what is happening, because both the boys were like, Jen, I can't believe you don't know who the Liver King is. And when I was looking at him on social media, I know exactly why I don't know who this guy is. He's disgusting. He's dirty. He eats raw meat. He's on the floor with cockroaches. Hard pass.
This is why we watch him.
And so you guys watch him. I'm like, Liver King, what? I mean, I heard someone tried to threaten Joe Rogan yesterday. That's why we're talking about him. But
well, he claimed that he was not on steroids, and then it came out that he was on steroids. He's got 3 million followers through his social media and selling certain things surrounding his ancestral life. The guy's a multi-gazillionaire. He's now in Austin, Texas, staying at the Four Seasons at a giant suite where the last video was of his latest threat to Joe Rogan. And apparently, he's threatening Joe. At one video I saw, he's crawling around like a gorilla on the floor. And he says he wants to fight Joe Rogan. He hopes Joe Rogan chokes him out because he likes that. And it's all kinds of weird stuff. And I said to Jen, because I'm really into these parasites now. I'm working with
I love
the wellness company. I think the parasites are a real problem in America. That 60 million Americans have parasites.
We should clarify you're into getting rid of them from your body. Because when you say I'm really into parasites.
I'm learning about them. And I think parasites play a role in cancer, which is why I think you're seeing some of the ivermectin treatments towards treating cancer working, because I think parasites are playing a role in cancer. But that we could do a whole show on that. But he has been eating raw meat for a long time. We know there's a danger of parasites. I think he's infected by parasites.
Well, if you look at his eyeball, one is dilated, the other is not. I mean, he looks like a nut bag. Somebody needs to help him.
So the police, Austin police, come and arrest the Liver King last night about 6 o'clock at the Four Seasons.
Did he say, leave her alone?
Joe Rogan says, I don't know this guy. I got nothing to do with this guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, Joe Rogan lives in Austin. This guy, I know this guy lives in, his name's Brian Johnson, I believe is his real name, the Liver King.
Basic.
And I believe he lives in either Texas or Louisiana, but he lives someplace in that area. And they're in Austin. He travels with his family everywhere. Usually he's shirtless when he walks around everywhere. And it's quite interesting to watch because it's like watching, in some respects, a train wreck.
Yeah, I guess. This is not my vibe on social media. I don't know. It's just not. But here's what I did tell you. I did tell you this, because you said, yeah, but the guy's got a lot of, I said, this guy's a loser. And you said, he's got a lot of money, Jen. And I said, that does not mean that he's a winner. You don't have to have a lot of money to be a winner, and you can be a rich loser. And this guy is a rich loser because he's doing something. He's selling out part of himself just to make money and for clicks. And now he's made himself sick, probably.
Do you know what's so I'm 56 years old.
Yeah.
I've bought and sold a few businesses. I do pretty well, I believe, with the media, pretty well. But everything's relative, right? I remember when I got out of college, if I could just make $100,000 a year, if I could just make $100,000, I'd be happy. And then you get to your $100,000, and then
inflation, to be fair,
a year. Inflation. If I could just make 200, if I could just make $500,000 a year, if I could, and it just keeps going up and
That's
up.
because you are a wealth chaser, my friend. And I want to tell you this. What did I tell you off the air that I think is actually nice? And I'm going to share this with all of our Young Morning Answer listeners. Just your salary does not equate your worth. When I think about you, my friend, and I'm being very honest here because I know we always tease each other.
Well, you said the key word. You said salary. If you're collecting a salary, you're probably not getting wealthy.
Well, all I'm saying is when I think about you, who legitimately you are one of my closest friends on the planet.
I agree.
We
I agree, and
spend
the feeling's mutual.
a ton of time together every single day. When I think about my friend Grant, I think about how you love your dog. I think about how you love your son. I think about how smart you are when it comes to the media and business. No, in no particular order. I think about your sense of humor. I think about those things. I don't think about, oh man, he really hasn't made his quota for a salary yet today. And oh boy, look at how many clicks he's got on social media. No, I don't think about that. I think about you, the person. So just remember that.
Well, I do.
I know you do.
Because I was an athlete
I want to put you in my program.
In high school through college, and you judged your success by score, by winners and losers. The only way I know now to judge success, at least within a career, is how much money you're making. So I agree with you. I do agree with you that all of those things that you say are important. You've got to be a decent person. You got to care for other people. Try to make everyone around you a little bit safer, emotionally and physically.
I love your ambition. And honestly, I will say that I love your ambition. I don't like people that don't have ambition. Well, I guess there's some exceptions.
Maybe I should say this. I think everybody's definition of success is different. So you may have a definition of success that, you know what, you just want to be able to take your family out to dinner once a week, go on vacation once a year. You want to make sure you got some money if the car breaks down and the kids can go to their after-school program. And you go through life very happy in a modest fashion, and that's success for you. You're not arguing with your wife. You're happy, and your kids are all healthy.
Because you know what? God's not going to look at your checking account when you get to the pearly gates.
But there are other people. Their success may be less than their success may be. I want to live in a jungle, and I want to walk around barefoot, and I don't want anybody bothering me. And that's their definition of success. Other people may have a definition of success that, you know what, I need to collect as much as I can. So when I get old, I've got it, so I don't have to worry. And two, I can hand it down when I'm old. So I can hand it down. One definition is right or wrong. Now, I think in everybody's definition, there should be that component of trying to make everyone around you lives a little bit better. If you do that one sole goal to make everybody's life a little bit better that's around you, you're running a pretty good life.
I'm going out on a limb here.
Okay.
But do you think Luka Doncic is a great player?
Great player.
Never won a championship. He's a loser.
Yeah, but he makes a lot of money.
No, he's a loser. He's never won a championship.
Well, I will tell you this. He has not reached the pinnacle. He has not reached the pinnacle unless he gets a championship.
Is there plenty of great athletes who don't have a ring? And they're still great athletes.
And they're still not a champion.
Oh boy.
They go on to talk about why this feud is unfolding, and it is apparently to relate to wannabe men, and that they're profiting off of all of this.
Okay, so that's the heart of it.
That's the angle.
Yeah.
Let me give you a good line from this. A weird story, one that shouldn't be dismissed. This bro versus the Liver King, okay, illustrates a deeper truth about the fragile masculinity that undergrinds the MAGA movement. Rogan may not think he's a clown like Johnson, but both built their careers by playing to male insecurities and the ever-elusive fantasy of true manhood.
Oh, boy.
Johnson's breakdown also exposes the real danger in chasing this dream, which is that it can drive a man crazy.
And look, we were just talking to you yesterday about how you were being driven crazy about the same thing.
Exactly. And I am. And look, you want to be a man. So what is the definition of a man? The definition of a man to me is you make everyone around you just a little bit safer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most basic definition of a man that I can tell you. And I would add that goes for both emotionally and physically.
Okay, I
Make
like that.
everyone around you just a little bit safer. Now, in some respects, you want me to sound like a total liberal?
Let's go.
That doesn't mean a woman can't act like a man. I know plenty of women that make everyone around them just a little bit safer.
And a good person should, I think, regardless of gender, right? I mean, that's the goal.
But in the end, there are roles when it comes to gender,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, I'm not one that subscribes to this crazy role. We were just talking about the what is it, traditional?
Trad. They call it trad wife.
What is that?
That just means the traditional, I mean, I don't know, it's a social media term, but a trad wife is someone who, has dinner cooked. First of all, there's a lot of vilification of a trad wife. Being a traditional wife is still a job. Keeping a household, raising kids, it is still a job. It should still be respected. But I think there are a lot of people on the conservative side of the aisle that either think you have to be this way and that women that aren't that way and choosing different paths for themselves are somehow not as worthy. I think that there are people who think that traditional wives are just following what their husbands say. I think we need to just back off, let people live their lives and choose their life path. That's my particular point of view on that. Dan, I know you look like you're looking in to jump to opine. So what do you think about that concept?
Yeah, this is a social media and modern issue that just creates sides that really shouldn't necessarily exist.
It's not even political either. It's a way of life.
Yeah, this is basically...
Well, it most certainly is political. There is no way a Democrat woman is going to say that a wife should be there to cook dinner for her husband, serve her husband, and be the stay-at-home mom.
What I should say is it's not exclusively political.
But it's turned into this battle because on one side you have people who are rejecting everything about femininity, and then on the other side people are like, well, I want to be a traditional wife. My mom, I guess, would be a trad wife because she left the workforce in 96 to raise me and my sister and has homeschooled me and all that. In a vacuum, I just say, yeah, she's my mom. She's a stay-at-home mom. Appreciate it. But
how much work does she do that? I mean, it's a lot of work. That's the point.
So much. But the point is, because now we have the trad wife label over here, people just jump the sharks and go down all the extremes as opposed to just realizing, hey, there's some women who want to work, and there's some women who want to stay home and raise kids, and there's some in the middle. But we can't just do that because of social media. So we got labels and all this nonsense.
Makes sense, sort of?
Yeah, I mean, and so this is what Salon hates.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, on his show, this is talking about Liver King, he fetishes weightlifting, fighting sports, and other cliches of hyper masculinity. Excuse me, this is talking about Rogan. And like Johnson, Rogan capitalizes on his audience's insecurities by selling them useless supplements with false promises they can biohack their way to a domineering manhood.
But you could make that argument about people that were trying to shop the COVID vaccine at us. I mean, it's really kind of a dishonest article, to be honest.
It really is, and all it does is it goes to the heart of slamming men.
Yeah, they hate
it.
men.
It is a war on men. Let me read this final part to you, okay? The precious manhood thesis has three basic tenets according to those on the left. First, manhood is widely viewed as elusive, achieved status, or one that must be earned, in contrast to womanhood, which is an ascribed or assigned status. Second, once achieved manhood status is tenuous and impairment. That is, it can be lost or taken away at any moment. Third, manhood is confirmed primarily by others and thus requires public demonstrations of proof.
Oh, geez. You know what? They're full of it. It's a weak argument, but here's the thing. The reason they hate you so much, and I'm going to say you specifically because you are a alpha male and you happen to be white, they hate you like their worst enemy, is that communism and socialism cannot survive with multiple alpha males. I mean, think about the society that we see in Russia. You have a Vladimir Putin. Maybe you have some other, but he's the ultimate alpha male. That kind of government cannot survive if you have too many alpha males running around. You just can't.
That's a great point. I never thought about that. That is a great point. When you look at socialism, communism, It can't survive with too many alpha males. You need one dictator, and everybody else has to be subservient.
The fall of every culture has happened when we have brought too much femininity into the culture, and that's why they want to kill men. There, I just wrapped it up.
Do you think you have to? How do you prove your manhood? I think you prove your manhood is very simple. You be a decent human being, and again, you make everyone around you feel a little bit safer. That's all you need to prove. It doesn't mean you have to go tackle somebody or get in a fight with somebody at a bar. That's not manhood.
Those are losers. No,
those are losers. Exactly.
The manliest men are the ones who don't smack you in the face with it. You just know they're there. You just know you're secure. It's a security issue.
Listen to me, folks. You want to get in good shape? You got to get with my friends over at energizedhealth.com/Grant. These folks have helped me so much. I lost 15 pounds in 2 weeks, and I hardly even did anything. I changed the way I eat around a little bit. I was still eating many of the same foods that I always like. I changed the way I work out a little bit, but I wasn't killing myself. I wasn't really even breaking much of a sweat. But they taught me about what intercellular hydration can do to your body. It's like a miracle process that they have figured out. It's a patent-pending science. And I say about this program, Energized Health, the secret is in the simplicity of the science, but only they know about it. Intercellular hydration. I want you to learn about it, and then I know once you do, you will want to get on board with these guys. EnergizedHealth.com/Grant. There's a masterclass there that you can take, and it's about taking your body back. All right? Whether you want to lose 15 pounds and trim it up like me, or you want to lose 200 pounds, my friends at EnergizedHealth.com can help you. They've helped so many of my Stinchfield's Army listeners and viewers. Real America's Voice right here on Rumble. You're going to love these guys. And they got videos, diet. I don't even call it diet. Recipes. They have weekly Zoom calls, personal coaching. You name it. They set you up for success. EnergizedHealth.com/Grant. Pay them a visit today. I was very excited for this one. Do we have my main man, the Dersh?
We have your main man, the Dersh. And I know Grant Stinchfield, well, you know I'm a big fan of Alan Dershowitz, but you, my friend, take it to a whole nother level. So welcome to your fan club. Alan Dershowitz, we are happy to have you here.
Thank you. Happy to be here, except I don't like Friday because I love the middle of the week. I love working. I love fighting. You know, the weekend's fine, but I get up every Monday and I say, thank God it's Monday.
I love that.
Back against the forces of evil in the world. I'm only 86 years old. I still have plenty of energy.
You've got a brand new book out, too, and congratulations. Yeah. It's called The Preventive State, The Challenge of Preventing Serious Harms While Preserving Essential Liberties. We love this, Alan. And you have these great, I mean, your writing is so incredible. What sparked this latest book for you?
Well, it's my 57th book, so my wife calls it my Heinz book, you know, Heinz 57 flavors. And I'm working on my 58th book, which is called Trump to Harvard, Go Fund Yourself. That's my newest book coming out. But the Preventive State
title.
is really a serious, important book. We are moving so much toward prevention now. Bombing of Iran was preventive. Trying to deport people is preventive. When we inoculated millions of people during the pandemic, it was preventive. We do so much prevention, and we don't have a jurisprudence for it. We don't know when it's right and when it's wrong. How do we balance these preventive measures against denial of civil liberties? So this is the first book ever written about prevention with a theory of how to constrain it to make sure it doesn't violate civil liberties. So of my 57 books, this is my most important. And if there's any one book that will keep my name going into the next century, it's this book. And so please, buy it on Amazon. The New York Times refuses to review it because I defended Donald Trump.
It's amazing.
Harvard Club of New York canceled my speech about this book because I defended Donald Trump. The 90 Seconds Rewind in New York won't let me speak about this book because I defended Donald Trump. So if you want to fight back against the forces of political correctness and censorship, buy The Preventive State on Amazon. That's the only place you can get it because, some liberal bookstores are banning it. I'm a pariah to the left because I was the darling of the left. And then I decided that maybe the left has become the enemy of civil liberties. Look at what they did in New York.
It's crazy.
They voted for a vicious anti-Semite socialist to be the potential mayor of the city of New York. I'm not a Democrat anymore. I'm not a Republican, but I can't be a Democrat.
Well, I just want to say for the record that all the way back to my Newsmax days, I don't know, 5 years ago, I was telling the great professor that he was not a Democrat. Isn't that right, Professor?
Yes, you were. You were telling me that. And Chris Ruddy was telling me that. And Chris Ruddy was introducing me to President Trump. And I think maybe he was the one who got me to represent him on the floor of the Senate when he was unconstitutionally impeached. So thank you, Newsmax, and thank you for your support.
All right, let me ask you this question because it's interesting when you talk about the preventative state. The Constitution basically tells the government what it can't do, right? I mean, that's basically what most of the amendments are. Is you can't infringe upon our free speech. Right. Now, I don't know if I'm overthinking this, but what's the difference between offensive and preventative? And is there a difference there?
There is a difference. For example, we generally punish crimes after they occur. And often we overreact. Take, for example, what happened Pearl Harbor. We didn't stop Pearl Harbor. We didn't prevent it. So we put 110,000 innocent people in camps afterward, which was terrible. After 9/11, we passed the Patriot Act, which wasn't a thrilling thing to do. After Israel failed to prevent October 7th, they went into Gaza. Some people think it was an overreaction, some people not. But, when we fail to prevent, we often overreact and say, oh, my God, we failed to do this. Let's double down, triple down, quadruple down. So I want to see us engaged in more preventive actions, stopping these things before they happen, and then not overreacting to them after they happen if we fail to prevent it.
The Preventive State is available right now, Amazon.com. I'm looking at it. You can pick it up today. Help support Alan Dershowitz. Help support free speech. And put up the hand. You know which hand you can put up and what finger you can put up to woke culture that wants to cancel him. Alan, I do want to ask you about the ultimate, I think, in prevention. You mentioned it at the beginning of our interview, and that is the attack on Iran over the weekend. Yeah. What do you make of that? And then, of course, the implications of Democrats in Congress wanting to impeach President Trump for not asking their permission.
Oh, it's ridiculous. The framers of the Constitution got it right. The original draft said that Congress can make war. And then James Madison, the father of the Constitution, said, no, that would constrain the president in the event of prevention, the need to prevent. Exactly. And so he changed the word from make war to declare war. We haven't declared war since 1942. And, of course, the president has to have the power secretly and quietly to engage in preventive action of the kind that Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu so brilliantly did in the last weeks. That has to be an executive function. And I think everybody in Congress knows that, and idiots like AOC who want to impeach the president haven't read the Constitution. Gee, I want to go back to, bartending and at least go back to school and read the Constitution. It permits for impeachment only in cases of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors. It doesn't allow impeachment if you disagree with a presidential decision.
All right, so another issue, since we got you, we'll roll through some of these things.
Sure.
Not a constitutional issue with this Senate parliamentarian that is now a Harry Reid appointee that may sink President Trump's big, beautiful bill. It appears it's Senate rules that allow her to make these decisions. But now she's stripping many of the provisions that President Trump wanted to get the government back under control, giving illegals health care, transgender surgeries and things. What do you make of the situation with the parliamentarian, and is there anything John Thune, the leader of the Senate for Republicans, can do about her?
Yeah, it is a constitutional issue. There's nothing in the Constitution about a parliamentarian. And, Jefferson wrote a whole book when he was president and before that about the role of the Senate, the role of the House. And so obviously the Senate and the House can take the power away from this so-called parliamentarian and put it in the hands of the president of the Senate, the vice president of the United States. So I think it's overcomable. It's a barrier right now, but it's not a constitutional barrier.
The Preventive State is available on Amazon, Amazon.com right now. It is written by Alan Dershowitz, the 57th book in his collection, and we know you have them all. Switching gears again, just because I know we are taking advantage of you because you're here, but you have such a great mind, and this is something that's been really important to us being in Los Angeles. We've seen riots over the last several weeks. We've seen ICE coming to town. There's been a big question about due process, Professor, a big question. And there are people who say, well, if you're here illegally, you don't really have that. There are people who say if you're illegal and you commit a crime, we can send you back because you are a threat to society. And then there are people who are saying you get 100% due process just like an American citizen. Where do you stand? And what is from a constitutional perspective, what's the real truth here? Because there is a lot of emotion in this issue.
Yeah, the Constitution is very clear. Due process means the process that's due to you, and that depends on who you are, what your status is. If you're a citizen and they're trying to convict you of a crime, you have every possible bit of due process, right to counsel, right to cross-examine. If you're an alien who just snuck over the border, you have no due process whatsoever. If you're a visa holder, it's somewhere in the middle. If you're a green card holder, it's a little closer to being a citizen, but it all depends on what your status is and what they're trying to do to you. So, for example, we have the case where they deported this guy to the wrong country. And, you know, he may have a due process right to be sent to the right country, but he has no due process right to remain in the country if he was legitimately deported. So due process is a sliding scale. It depends completely on your status in the country. Due process is completely different for a citizen and for somebody who is seeking, for example, a visa.
All right, I want to make this very, very clear so everybody can understand this. According to Alan Dershowitz, probably one of the greatest constitutional professors, lawyers out there, if you sneak across the border, you have no visa, you have no right to be here, and ICE scoops you up in Chicago, they don't have to send you in front of an immigration judge. They can just literally take you and drop you off on the other side of the border?
Yeah. Now, if you claim that here, I'll give you an example. In I don't remember, 42 or 3, a bunch of German spies were caught off the East Coast in a submarine. They had just gotten off a submarine, and they were there to blow up, sabotage, and espionage. And they were arrested, and they were subject to a court-martial. One of them claimed he was a citizen. He had been born in America and had gone back to Germany and become a Nazi. Even then, the Supreme Court gave him no due process and allowed him to be executed during the Second World War. So, no, if you've snuck into the country and you're a spy or you're a criminal, you get no due process. You may have the right yourself to go to court and say, I'm really a citizen. But if you're not a citizen and you snuck over the border, they can just put you right back.
All right, and if you're you're a criminal by definition because you broke the law by sneaking into the country. But if you're a farm worker, no problem. And I just want to make this clear because this is the argument I've been making.
Yeah, no, look, if you've been in the country a long time and you've been a peaceful citizen, there's a good policy argument for why they ought not to be deporting you first. But it's a policy argument, not a constitutional argument. Constitutionally, if you have no papers, if you snuck into the country, you have no status here. But, you know, from a point of view of common sense, if somebody is married to an American citizen, has 3 American citizen children, has worked for 10 years legitimately on a farm, you know, don't deport him. But that's a question of policy.
Exceptions, right. Okay.
This is great. I'm glad we went through this. Jen, mark it down again. Stinchfield, right again when all those callers are telling me.
All right. We love having you here. Alan Dershowitz, thanks so much. And again, get the book, brand new, hot off the presses, The Preventive State, The Challenge of Preventing Serious Harms While Preserving Essential Liberties. Available right now, Amazon.com, The Preventive State from Alan Dershowitz. Alan, thanks so much. Have a great weekend filled with lots of work, since
what a
that's
great
what you like.
conversation. Good conversation. I really appreciate it.
Thanks,
We
Professor.
appreciate
Good talking to you.
Thank you.
All right, folks. If you don't have one of these kits, you are not prepared for an absolute emergency. I'm talking about the Wellness Company. This kit has some of the essential prescription medications, including ivermectin in here. So you need to have one of these kits to be fully prepared. But even more than that, what about parasites? I want you to go to twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT to kill parasites like that in your food. You know, I think the Liver King, you know, this whole thing, I was going crazy and going after Joe Rogan. He eats raw meat, lots of raw meat. I think he could be infected with parasites. I think the parasites are in his brain and he's going crazy. Just my opinion. You want parasites out of your brain? Get this parasite cleanse from the wellness company, twc.health/grant. Ivermectin and mebendazole, a fabulous concoction sold out 3 times that will help you get clean, get your mental focus back, clean up your skin, all kinds of things. Parasites are known to cause cancer as well. So twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT. Don't forget about the prescription medication kits as well. All right, folks. Before I let you go, I want to tell you about a situation that happened in the United States Congress. Congress voted on a resolution. You understand a resolution is nothing more than a, hey, we believe this. It's not law. It's not policy. It's not a regulation. It's nothing that can affect your life in any manner. What it is an absolute waste of time. Now, Speaker Johnson controls the floor of the House. Why are we wasting time on resolutions? It's silly. Resolutions, again, mean nothing other than to, try to make the Democrats look bad, which they did here. But again, I would offer up that this is absolutely ridiculous. This was a resolution that nearly every Democrat voted against, okay? Condemning the Los Angeles riots. Well, of course we condemn the Los Angeles riots. Of course the riots are bad. So Democrats voted overwhelmingly refusing to condemn the riots. Okay, great. We proved that the Democrats are radical. We already know this. We have real business in the House of Representatives that needs to get taken care of. I would offer up not even passing new bills. How about we start going through and repealing legislation, repealing spending, cutting spending, repealing laws that have no meaning for us anymore or are overreaching and over-regulatory. Not passing stupid resolutions. This is the kind of thing that outrages people. And so, yes, it's a great resolution. Republicans look good. Democrats look stupid. Who cares? I don't care what Democrats look like. I want to get back to the business of making things happen in the House while we control it. So, Speaker Johnson, stop with the resolutions and start doing some meaningful work that will really have an effect on the people instead of this publicity stunt nonsense, quite frankly. That's going to do it for us today, folks. Happy 4th of July to you all as we come up on that very special day. America's birthday. We couldn't live in a better country. And I'm grateful to be doing this program with all of you. I'm grateful to Stinchfield's Army. Stinchfield's Army rolls. Thank you for that. And we will see you back here soon. Next week, I guess it'll be after the weekend. And then on the Real America's Voice show as well, 7 p.m. Eastern time. God bless all of you. See you soon. Happy birthday, America.